So news has just come in that the Independent newspaper, which is one of the newspapers mass circulation in the UK, has decided to go print no more, and it's going to go totally online. Just put it up, stop the print run, done. And that's mental. I mean, I grew up in a world of newspapers, and newspapers being the big Fleet Street block of massive article written, story led, quality content, and now one of the big players is going online. And I don't think that's unexpected. In fact, if anything, that plays into what I've been saying for a long time, is that the traditional print side of marketing, or the print side of content consumption, has really started to show cracks and had its day. The newspaper industry has been all over the place for a long time. But just to give you an idea of how far these guys have fallen, they had just under 500,000 copies being sold per day in their heyday. 500,000 newspapers a day. Now it's just down to 28,000 a day. And when you've got a massive offices with really well-paid journalists, and you're only, selling these things for like, £1 or even less, you just can't afford to keep on going like that. I mean, that's just not enough, and the advertising revenues aren't what they were because people aren't able to track or have any sort of accountability for what they see as a return on investment from that. And therefore, this whole digital play has come out, and the Independent, which is it's a I think it's a left field newspaper. It's got it prides itself on its reporting, etc. Has really struggled. Where you've got the BBC Online and all the other online outlets, it's all free content. And you look at the train going into London in the morning, you'll have a few people which have picked up the Metro, which is the free paper, and then the rest of people are just looking at their phones like this, down like this. It's just, doesn't work. And I think what we're seeing, I think it's something like the 26th of March 2016 will be their last run. And actually, I think they're quite an interesting case study to see how they get on. They're the first of the big incumbents that will be switching across to this. And I wonder if more will follow. They're already talking about The Guardian potentially following, which will be another big paper. So very interesting times ahead. I genuinely think that a lot of journalists, quality journalists, are wasted on the print advertising, print newspapers, because their message is only locked into that small amount. Yes, it will be published online, but people go to the Independent because they're an independent reader, whereas quality content should be shared wide and far, and that's why things like the BBC website does incredibly well, because it's generic and people can follow it. So I think as marketers, we need to understand this as well, because there's a lot of money that's been put into print that even the newspapers themselves can't keep their circulation afloat. So they're not going to be able to sell that much advertising space. So getting online and working on it is really important. But then the people online are going to have to start working harder, because display advertising is how a lot of them monetize their websites. That's the little adverts that are, that's the little adverts that are on the side of the columns, or the side of each bit of the article, and then flash up, the little advertising things that just interrupt you and annoy you. And they're going to have to work a lot harder, because iOS's new update, Apple's new update on the iPhone, strips out a lot of this content. And as we know, there's already more mobile users per day than there is non-mobile users on the internet. So if we're stripping out all of these adverts, then it's going to be a bit of a problem. So they're going to have better advertising. It's going to have to be more editorial based. It's going to be more interesting and not marked up as an advert, for those guys to be able to sell more adverts and therefore justify their play online, and that's where all the market's going. So I think it's probably a good thing. It's right, it's where content's going, it's where the world's going, and actually taking the step now is probably a good move for the Independent. It'll be really interesting to see how it plays after 26th of March, and I'll keep you updated. Richard Woods from the Digital Trailblazer, signing off.